This is Caleb Jones. This is Alpha Male 2.0, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We do 5 videos a week here on how to make your business life and your woman life more free, because you need both. You may notice that I have a pessimistic attitude towards certain things, but I have a very positive attitude toward other things. So how does that work? Let me explain how this works. This is something I learned to do many years ago, and it really worked well for me. How do you keep a positive attitude when the world is collapsing around you? Or how do you keep a positive attitude while maintaining realism and objectivity? Because most people, when they say, well, I'm a realist, I'm not a pessimist, I'm not negative, I'm just a realist. That's code for I'm a negative asshole and I hate everything and everything sucks. Usually that's the case. Not always, but usually. Instead, the way this works is that you want to be positive on the macro and negative on the micro. Let me give you several examples, real life examples. So Admiral Stockdale, who was actually Ross Perot's running mate back in the 90s, he was in prison in Vietnam. And when he got out, he was there for many years, I believe. When he got out, he was interviewed, and he said something very interesting. The guy interviewing said, "How did you survive? How did you survive being in that hellhole for that long?" And Stockdale said, "Because I knew I would prevail. I knew in the end I would get out and I would live and I'd be fine. I knew it in my gut, I knew it in my soul, I knew it in my heart. That's why I survived." And then the guy said, "Well, why did the other people, so many other men that you were captive with, why did they pass? Why did they die?" He said, "Well, they were the optimists." And the interviewer was like, wait, what? Weren't you the optimist? He said, "No, I was not an optimist." What would happen with the guys who died, the guys who were in jail? These are the guys who always said, "We'll be out by Christmas. We'll be out by Christmas, guys. Don't worry, we'll be out by Christmas." And I knew we were not going to be out by Christmas. I knew it was going to be a long, long time. I knew I would get out, but I knew from that moment to when I got out, it would be a long time and there would be a lot of problems. That's key. We'll talk about that in a second. So what would happen is they would say, "Okay, guys, don't worry, we'll be out by Christmas." Then Christmas came and went. We were still there, still being tortured, still horrible. "Well, we'll be out by New Year's." New Year's came and went, we were still there. "We'll be out by my birthday." Came and went, still there. These guys died. They died of a broken heart. They kept expecting amazing things to happen, and they didn't happen because that's not how life works, and then they died. Whereas I knew, going through this process, he didn't say these exact words, but it's basically he said, I knew from that moment to when I was released, it would be very, very difficult, but I knew I would get out, and that's why I survived. That's one example. I'll give you another example. One of my mentors, a man named Dan Kennedy, he was asked about this. He was asked, how do you maintain a positive attitude, but be objective and realistic about all the problems that occur from A to Z, from when you set a goal to when you accomplish that goal? And here's the analogy he used. As a matter of fact, I've used this analogy myself a few times. He said, when I get on a plane, when I'm in Los Angeles and I'm going to New York, when I get on that plane, I know for a fact I'm going to get in New York. I'm optimistic about the macro objective. I know I'm going to accomplish getting to New York. I'm not going to end up in Mexico City. I'm not going to end up in Phoenix. I'm going to get to New York. The plane's not going to crash. The odds of that are bazillion to 1, 2% rule. I know I'm going to get to New York. So I'm a positive and I'm optimistic about the end game objective. But I am a pessimist about literally everything else. So I assume the plane is going to be 3 hours late. I assume the airline staff are going to be assholes and treat me like shit. I assume I'm going to have all kinds of problems with my luggage. I assume that they're going to poison me with the food. I'm going to eat their food, I'm going to throw up and die. I'm going to assume that I'm going to sit next to a giant fat guy, so I'll be stuck in this really horrible, uncomfortable seat. I assume problem after problem after problem after problem after problem getting to New York. Now, if those problems don't occur, great. If they do occur, I have prepared for them so they're okay. That's how I do it. That's how I do it. So I am very positive about my long-term objectives. I always am. I know I'm going to hit them. I may hit them late, which I have a tendency to do. I usually hit all the goals that I set for myself. Matter of fact, in my financial life, I have exceeded all the financial goals I've ever set for myself. So I was right. I knew in my 20s and 30s, by the time I was X, I would make this amount of money, or have this net worth, or these investments, or these businesses, or what have you. I was actually right because I was optimistic about those goals. But when I set goals, I assume non-stop fucking problems. From that moment I set the goal all the way to the end. I assume problem after problem after delay after problem after problem. I also assume sometimes if I set a date on my goals, I may miss that date. I may be late. I've been late a lot on my objectives. I'm late all the time on the projects that I set, but I always get them done and they always work. Always, always, always. On a more macro view, talked about how the Western world is collapsing, and it is. Western world's fucked. Canada's fucked. United States fucked. Europe is fucked. But I have also said at the same time, the future for the human race, the future for humanity is very bright. In the next few decades, we are going to invent things that are going to blow your mind. Things that are going to extend your life, things that are going to improve the quality of life. It's going to be an amazing, amazing time to live, to be a human being over the next several decades. To be a human being. Not necessarily to be an American, because we're not talking now about America, the future of the North America, whatever. We're talking about the human condition. The human condition I'm very optimistic about. Very optimistic. I can't wait for what's coming. I am super excited. I really can't wait. I'm really pumped about this stuff. But in terms of the nation state of the United States, the EU, things like that, gonna have a lot of problems. It's gonna be horrible. So from now until that point, we're gonna have a lot of problems. Worse problems than most of you are anticipating. It's gonna get very bad. But in the end, it's gonna be very good. So I have this view in terms of my own life, my own goals, my own projects, and I have this view of the world. On the macro, I'm an optimist, and I'm very positive, I'm very excited. On the micro, on the day-to-day, on the details, I'm a pessimist, I'm a realist. Lots of problems are gonna happen. And because I plan on problems occurring, when they occur, they don't blindside me. So when the coronavirus hit and the world got shut down, I was fine. Why was I fine? Because I spent the last 10 years of my life preparing for problems just like that. I knew we would have problems like this. I anticipated and planned on these problems, so when they occurred, they didn't damage me too poorly. Make sense? This is how this works. So be optimistic about the macro, be optimistic about the end game, but be pessimistic or realistic if you like, be objective about the time it takes and the problems you'll experience and the delays that you'll have and the people who fuck up. Assume that in advance. Matter of fact, on my blogs, I've talked about how you should assume incompetence. Whenever I work with someone new, I assume they're going to be idiots. I assume they're going to be incompetent. If they turn out to be competent, that's a nice surprise. If they turn out to be incompetent, I go, yep, I was planning on that, so here's plan B. It all ties together. If you want more detail on this, join smic.com. That is my membership and coaching program. Have fun. See you soon. Bye.